October 1943. The sky above Nazi-occupied Europe is a cold, endless gray silent, until it isn't. Staff Sergeant Daniel Mercer grips the yoke of his B-17 Flying Fortress, Liberty Belle, as the bomber formation cuts across the German frontier. At 20,000 feet, the air is thin, sharp, and merciless. Frost creeps along the inside of the cockpit glass. Oxygen masks hiss with every breath. Below them, a war-torn continent waits in shadow. Steady, hold formation, Mercer mutters, eyes locked forward. Around him, dozens of B-17s fly in tight combat boxes, metal giants, bristling with .50 caliber machine guns. Their silver bodies glint faintly through broken clouds. This is daylight bombing doctrine: precision, discipline, and survival through unity. But today, something feels off. Flak expected in 2 minutes, the navigator calls out, his voice tight through the intercom. Mercer nods, though no one can see it. His gloved hands tighten around the controls. He's flown missions before enough to know when the air turns hostile, enough to recognize the silence before chaos. Then it begins. Black bursts of anti-aircraft fire bloom around them, violent, expanding clouds of smoke and steel. The sky erupts. Shrapnel tears through the formation like invisible blades. The bomber to their left jerks suddenly, one engine coughing smoke. Flak, heavy, 12 o'clock. The co-pilot shouts. The Liberty Belle shudders as shockwaves slam into its fuselage. Metal groans. Somewhere in the belly of the aircraft, something rattles loose. Stay tight, don't break formation. Mercer commands, his voice steady despite the rising tension clawing at his chest. Breaking formation means death. Alone, a bomber is prey. Another explosion closer this time. The aircraft lurches violently. Warning lights flicker across the instrument panel. Number 3 engines hit. The flight engineer yells, all pressure dropping fast. Mercer glances to his right. The engine sputters, coughing black smoke into the freezing air. Feather it, Mercer orders. We keep going. There's no turning back, not now. Above them, contrails streak across the sky, fast, precise. German fighters. Bandits incoming. The tail gunner's voice cuts through the intercom. High 6. Multiple. Mercer's jaw tightens. The Messerschmitts dive like hawks, sleek, deadly, closing fast. Gunfire erupts across the formation. Tracer rounds rip through the air, glowing lines of destruction. Hold your fire, wait for range, Mercer says, forcing calm into his crew. The first fighter screams past, guns blazing. The Liberty Belle shakes as bullets hammer into its aluminum skin. Glass cracks. A gunner curses sharply over the comms. Then something unexpected. Out of the chaos, another B-17 drifts too close. Too close. Watch it, the co-pilot shouts. Mercer's eyes widen as the neighboring bomber, damaged and unstable, slides directly into their path, its wing dipping, control failing. There's no time, no space, only impact. The impact should have torn them apart. Instead, both bombers remain locked together in the freezing sky. Daniel Mercer feels the collision ripple through every inch of the Liberty Belle. The control yoke jerks violently in his hands. Metal screams a deep, tortured sound that doesn't belong in the air. What the hell just happened? The co-pilot shouts. Mercer doesn't answer. He's staring out the cockpit window. The other B-17 is still there, not falling, not breaking apart, stuck. Its right wing is embedded into the Liberty Belle's left side, torn aluminum, fused together in a jagged, impossible grip. One of its propellers is bent, frozen at a natural angle. Smoke pours from both aircraft, trailing into the cold blue void behind them. They are no longer two planes. They are one broken machine. Control response. Mercer snaps, sluggish, barely holding. The co-pilot replies, fighting the yoke. It's pulling left hard. Mercer compensates, forcing the aircraft level. Every movement feels delayed, heavy like flying through mud at 20,000 feet. Damage report, he orders. Voices crackle over the intercom, one after another. Top turret operational barely. Ball turrets jammed, I'm stuck down here. Radio's still working, but we're losing signal. Then a pause. Tail gunners hit. He's not responding. Mercer closes his eyes for half a second. No time for that now. Keep him on oxygen. We're not done yet. Another violent tremor shakes the aircraft. The second bomber shifts, grinding against them. Loose debris rains between the fused wings, vanishing into the clouds below. Sir? The navigator whispers, voice tight with disbelief. That plane, it's still flying with us. Mercer looks again. Through the fractured glass, he can see into the other cockpit just barely. A figure moves inside. Another pilot, alive. For a brief moment, across twisted metal and open sky, their eyes meet. Two crews, two shattered bombers. One impossible flight. God help us. The co-pilot murmurs, but the danger isn't over. Fighters coming back. The tail gunner suddenly crackles, weak, but alive. They're lining up again. The German fighters circle like wolves, confused at first but now adjusting. Two crippled bombers fused together make a slower, easier target. Mercer exhales slowly. "Gunners," he says, voice low and steady, "you don't stop firing. Not for anything." The sky erupts again. Tracer rounds streak past the cockpit. Machine guns thunder from every direction. The fused bombers shudder under the combined recoil and incoming fire. A Messerschmitt dives straight toward them, guns blazing. The nose gunner opens fire, bullets tearing across the fighter's fuselage. The enemy plane veers off at the last second, trailing smoke, but more are coming, and they're closing fast. "Sir," the flight engineer says quietly, almost in disbelief, "we're not going to make it like this." Mercer doesn't look away from the horizon. "No," he says, "a beat. The metal won't hold much longer." Daniel Mercer feels it through the controls, the vibration, the uneven drag, the unnatural pull tearing. At the Liberty Belle, the second bomber is no longer just attached. It's shifting, sliding. "Sir, she's breaking apart," the co-pilot shouts. A sharp grinding sound rips through the fuselage. As the other B-17's wing begins to tear free, jagged aluminum peels back like paper. The entire structure groans under stress that no aircraft was ever meant to survive. "Hold her steady," Mercer orders, though he knows how impossible that is. "I can't, she's pulling us down with her." Altitude drops slow at first, then faster. The needle sinks. 20,000 feet, 19,800, 19,500. Gravity is starting to win. Inside the belly turret, the trapped gunner's voice crackles again, strained, panicked. "I'm still stuck down here. Hatch won't open." Mercer clenches his jaw. The ball turret sits exposed beneath the aircraft, now dangerously close to the twisted wreckage of the other bomber. "If that plane drops, I need 2 men to get him out," Mercer says. "Sir, we can't reach him with that other wing jammed." The engineer protests. "I didn't ask what we can't do." A pause, then boots move. Someone crawls into the narrow fuselage, fighting gravity, smoke, and fear. Another violent jolt. The second bomber drops a few feet lower, still entangled, but hanging now. Its weight drags against the Liberty Belle, pulling them both into a slow, deadly descent. Mercer risks another glance. The other pilot is still there, still fighting, through fractured glass and twisted metal. Mercer sees him wrestling his own controls, trying to stabilize the impossible. For a moment, there's something unspoken between them, not enemy, not a lie, just 2 men refusing to fall. Then the sky lights up again. Fighters front. They're coming head on. The nose gunner shouts. 3 Messerschmitts line up directly ahead, bold now, confident. The crippled bombers are an easy kill. "Open fire," Mercer commands. The B-17 roars to life again, guns blazing. Tracers cut through the sky in long, glowing arcs. The fighters return fire, bullets slamming into both aircraft. The sound is deafening, metal tearing, glass shattering, engines screaming. One fighter breaks through the storm of bullets too close. Rounds rip through the nose section. The bombardier cries out. Blood splashes across the instruments. "Medic! We need a medic up here." Someone yells. Mercer doesn't turn. He can't. The second bomber suddenly lurches hard to the right. "Sir?" The connection snaps. Not clean. Violent. The tearing metal whips both aircraft apart. For a split second, everything feels weightless. Then, the other B-17 drops away, spinning, falling. Mercer watches it go, heart pounding as it begins a slow, deadly spiral toward the clouds below. Pieces break off midair, vanishing into the void. "Did anyone see chutes?" The co-pilot shouts. No answer, no parachutes, just the falling bomber. The crack in the wing isn't subtle. It spreads. A jagged line races across the Liberty Belle's left wing, slicing through aluminum and structural ribs. The aircraft shudders violently, as if the sky itself is trying to tear it apart. Wings splitting. "We're losing structural integrity," the flight engineer shouts. Daniel Mercer doesn't respond right away. His eyes stay locked forward, hands gripping the yoke with quiet, desperate control. "Speed," he finally says. "Reduce speed, now." Reducing throttle, careful, careful. The co-pilot murmurs, easing it back. Too fast, and the wing rips clean off. Too slow, and they stall. There is no safe space in between. The bomber settles into a fragile balance, barely holding together, barely staying airborne. Inside the fuselage, the crew fights their own battles. "I've got him," a voice yells from below. The ball turret gunner is being dragged out half-conscious, oxygen mask slipping, his face pale and streaked with frost. 2 men pull him up into the narrow compartment, their gloves slick with sweat despite the freezing air. "Stay with us, buddy. Stay with us," one of them whispers. Another jolt rocks the aircraft. Everyone freezes. The crack in the wing widens. Mercer feels it instantly anew, an even drag pulling them sideways. Sir, she's not going to hold, the co-pilot says quietly. Mercer knows, but below them, the cloud cover begins to thin. Through gaps in the gray, the ground appears patches of farmland, rivers cutting through the land like veins, and something else. Movement. Enemy territory, the navigator confirms. Deep inside Germany. No friendly airfields. No rescue. Only choices. Radio. Mercer asks, barely functioning. The operator replies. Signals weak, we're too far in. A burst of static cuts through the headset. Then a faint voice, another B-17. Any aircraft. Break formation. State condition. Mercer hesitates. Breaking formation means isolation. Isolation means death. But staying up here, like this. Sir, the engineer says carefully, if that wing goes, we don't get a second chance. Another tremor shakes the aircraft, stronger than before. A piece of the left wing tears free, spinning into the void behind them. The decision is made for him. Mercer reaches for the radio. This is Liberty Belle, he says, voice calm but heavy. We've collided midair. Severe structural damage. Unable to maintain formation. Static. Then. Understood. You are cleared to break off. Godspeed. Godspeed. The formation continues forward, dozens of bombers pressing on toward their target, leaving the Liberty Belle behind. Alone, the sky feels bigger now, emptier, more dangerous. Course, the co-pilot asks. Mercer looks ahead then down. Enemy land stretches for miles in every direction, but somewhere beyond it, there's a chance. A thin, fragile line between survival and capture. West, Mercer says. We head west. We ride this thing as far as it'll go. And if it doesn't, Mercer doesn't. Fire touches fuel and the sky becomes a ticking bomb. The moment the flames reach the left-wing tank, the Liberty Belle turns into something far more dangerous than a crippled bomber. It becomes unstable, volatile, seconds away from disappearing in a single flash. Fuel tanks compromised. The flight engineer shouts, "We're going to blow." "Not if we kill the fire first," Mercer snaps. But even as he says it, he knows the truth. At this altitude, with this damage, with oxygen hissing through ruptured lines, fire doesn't die easily. It feeds. Extinguishers are failing. Comes the next voice. A burst of flame surges along the wing, visible even from the cockpit, bright orange against the pale sky. The heat distorts the air. Metal blackens and peels. Inside the aircraft, the temperature rises fast. Smoke's filling the fuselage. Someone coughs. "We can't breathe back here." Mercer makes the call. "Prepare to bail out." The words hang heavy in the air. No one speaks for a second. They all understand what it means, jumping from a damaged aircraft over enemy territory into uncertainty, or worse. Do it now, Mercer orders. The crew moves. Parachutes are grabbed, clipped, tightened with shaking hands. Oxygen masks are ripped away. The freezing air bites instantly, raw and brutal. In the nose section, the wounded bombardier is barely conscious. "You're jumping with me," the medic says, pulling him up. "You hear me? You're not dying in here." Back near the waist gunners, the hatch is forced open. Wine explodes into the aircraft, howling, violent, tearing at everything loose. Papers ripped free. Smoke is sucked outward in swirling chaos. One man hesitates at the edge. Below him, the earth stretches endlessly, fields, forests, and somewhere down there, enemy soldiers. "I can't," he whispers. Another crewman grabs his shoulder. "You can, or you burn." A beat. Then, he jumps. Gone in an instant. One by one, they follow. Bodies vanish into the open sky. Parachutes yet to bloom. Ball turret gunners out. Someone yells. Radio operator's gone. Waist gunner jumped. The aircraft grows emptier with every second. Mercer stays at the controls. "Sir, we need to go," the co-pilot urges. "Not yet, sir. The wing." "I said not yet." Mercer's eyes are fixed ahead. Through the smoke, through the fire, he sees something. A break in the clouds. Lower altitude. If he can get the aircraft down just a little more, give the last of his crew a better chance. Another explosion rocks the wing. Fire surges violently, now crawling toward the fuselage. The co-pilot grabs his parachute. "This is it," he says quietly. "You coming?" Mercer doesn't answer immediately. "Then, go." The co-pilot hesitates, then nods once, hard. "Good luck, Dan." And he's gone. Just like that. Now the Liberty Belle is nearly empty. Only Mercer remains. The controls shake violently in his hands. The aircraft is dying, bleeding fire and metal, seconds from total failure. He looks down once. The explosion doesn't destroy the Liberty Belle all at once. It unravels her. The blast tears through the wing root with a violent shockwave, twisting metal inward and ripping structural beams apart. The aircraft jerks hard to the left and drops. Fast, Daniel Mercer is thrown forward against his harness as the controls go slack in his hands. No, no, stay with me, he mutters, instinctively pulling the yoke. Nothing responds. The left wing is no longer flying. It's breaking away. A deafening crack splits the air. The wing peels back, bending upward at an impossible angle before finally giving way, ripping free in a storm of fire and debris. The Liberty Belle rolls violently, uncontrolled, spinning. The horizon flips. Sky becomes, then sky again. Smoke floods the cockpit, thick and choking. Warning alarms scream, then die as electrical systems fail. Mercer knows. This is the end of the aircraft. He reaches for his parachute, hands moving on instinct, fingers clumsy in the chaos. The straps feel heavier now, like they don't belong to him. The fuselage shudders again. Another section tears loose behind him. The tail gone, just gone. Wind tears through the open gaps, ripping panels away, pulling at Mercer like the sky itself is trying to claim him. He unclips his harness. For a brief second, he hesitates. Not out of fear, out of something else. He looks forward through the cracked glass, through the smoke at the empty sky ahead, at the path they were supposed to follow, at the mission they never finished. Then, a sound, faint, distant, engines. Mercer turns his head sharply. Through the chaos, through spinning smoke and falling debris, he sees it. The other B-17, the one that broke away. It's still in the sky, damaged badly, one wing shredded, tail barely intact but somehow, impossibly, still flying, not falling, not yet. Mercer stares in disbelief. How? He breathes. The aircraft limps through the air, trailing smoke, holding altitude just enough to survive. For a moment, everything slows. Two bombers that should have died in the same instant, still fighting, still refusing to fall. Then reality slams back. The cockpit frame buckles. The floor beneath. Mercer shifts violently as another explosion rips through the fuselage. Time's up. He moves, climbing out of the shattered cockpit, gripping twisted metal, forcing himself into the open air. The wind hits him like a wall, cold, brutal, relentless. Below him, the earth spins. Above him, the remains of the Liberty Belle begin to tear apart piece by piece. Mercer doesn't look back again. He pushes off. The sky swallows him instantly. Free fall. Silence except for the roar of wind. The burning wreck of the bomber tumbles past him, pieces breaking away, fire trailing behind like a dying star. For a few seconds, there is nothing. No war, no engines, no gunfire, just the endless fall. Then, he pulls the cord. A violent jolt snaps through his body as the parachute deploys. The canopy bursts open above. The silence doesn't last long. Daniel Mercer hangs beneath his parachute, the canopy snapping sharply in the wind as it steadies. The roar of the burning sky fades behind him, but a new sound rises from below. Engines, not aircraft, ground vehicles. He looks down. The fields of Germany stretch wide. Beneath him, patchwork farmland cut by dirt roads and thin tree lines. And moving across those roads are trucks, several of them, dark shapes racing toward the descending parachutes. They're fast. Mercer mutters, adjusting his harness slightly as he drifts. Around him, other canopies dot the sky, some higher, some already nearing the ground, scattered, vulnerable, exposed. One parachute suddenly jerks sideways. Gunfire. Small, distant pops echo upward. Mercer's stomach tightens. They're shooting at us. It's not random. The vehicles below are spreading out, predicting landing zones, cutting off escape routes before the Americans even touch the ground. Mercer scans quickly. Wind direction, terrain, distance. To the east, open fields. Nowhere to hide. To the west, trees, dense enough to break line of sight. He pulls gently on the risers, shifting his descent. The parachute responds slowly, drifting toward the thin forest line. Come on, he whispers. Above him, the sky still burns. The remains of the Liberty Belle fall in scattered pieces, trailing smoke, and beyond that, the other B-17, still airborne. Mercer can hardly believe it. The damaged bomber limps across the sky, engines uneven, fuselage scarred. It's losing altitude but not fast, not crashing, not yet. For a brief moment, hope flickers. Maybe they'll make it out, maybe someone will. Then, a sudden burst of flak explodes near the surviving bomber. Black smoke blossoms around it. They're still firing. Mercer breathes. The aircraft jolts violently but keeps flying, refusing to die. Mercer looks away. He can't help them now. The ground is getting closer. Too close. The trucks are splitting into smaller groups to heading toward the open fields. One angling toward the forest. Toward him. Damn it. He reaches for his sidearm instinctively, but it's useless from up here. A pistol against rifles, trucks, numbers. This isn't a fight. It's a race. The trees rise up fast, now dark, uneven, branches waiting like claws. Mercer braces, legs together, roll on impact. The training echoes in his mind. He hits hard. The ground slams into him, knocking the air from his lungs. He rolls, tangled in parachute lines, branches snapping around him. Pain shoots through his side, but nothing feels broken. He's alive. For now. He scrambles up immediately, dragging the parachute toward the trees, trying to hide the bright white canopy. In the distance, engines grow louder, closer, voices, German. Mercer freezes for a split second, then moves again fast, low, disappearing deeper into the trees. Behind him, the first truck skids to a halt at the edge of the field. Soldiers jump out, rifles ready, and above them all, the forest swallows him. Branches scrape against Daniel Mercer's jacket as he pushes deeper between the trees, boots sinking into damp earth. Every breath is loud in his ears. Every snap of a twig feels like a gunshot. Behind him, voices, German, close, spread out. One of them shouts. Mercer drops low, pressing himself against the base of a thick tree trunk. He forces his breathing to slow, hand gripping the small pistol at his side. It feels insignificant now. One man against a patrol. This isn't a battlefield anymore. It's survival. The wind shifts slightly, carrying the distant sound of engines idling. And something else. A low rumble. Mercer glances up through the canopy. The sky is barely visible through the branches, but he catches it. Movement. The surviving B-17. Still in the air, still fighting. It emerges from the cloud cover like a ghost, crippled. Trailing smoke, engines uneven. It shouldn't be flying. It shouldn't even exist anymore. And yet it does. Mercer watches, frozen. The bomber struggles westward, losing altitude slowly but steadily. No formation, no escort. Just one broken aircraft trying to make it home. A burst of flak erupts nearby, black smoke punching into the sky around it. The bomber shudders, dips. But then, it steadies, keeps going. Mercer exhales softly, something almost like disbelief. Or respect. Come on, he whispers, just a little further. A hand suddenly grabs his shoulder. Mercer reacts, instantly twisting, bringing the pistol up. But it's not a German soldier. It's one of his crew. The ball turret gunner, face pale, uniform torn, eyes wide but alive. Thought I lost you. The gunner breathes. Mercer lowers the weapon slowly. You didn't, he replies. Not today. They don't have time for more. Voices cut through the trees again, closer now. Search the forest. They're here. Mercer looks around quickly. Two men. No clear escape. But then, another shape emerges from the trees. Then another. Survivors. Scattered. Shaken but alive. Not all of them, but enough. Mercer makes a decision. We move west, he says quietly. Stay low. Stay together. West, one of them asks. That's deeper into Germany. Mercer nods once. Yeah, he says. But it's also the only direction that plane's going. They all look up instinctively. The damaged B-17 is fading into the distance, now barely visible against the clouds. Still flying, still refusing to fall. A symbol of something none of them can put into words. Hope, or defiance. Maybe both. Gunfire cracks suddenly too close. A bullet slams into a tree just feet away, spraying bark. They've got us. Someone shouts. Mercer doesn't hesitate. Move. They run. Through trees, through brush, through fear, chasing a direction, chasing a chance. Behind them, German soldiers close in. Ahead of them, uncertainty. Above them, a dying bomber carries on across the sky, alone. And somewhere beyond the horizon, there is still a way out, but only if they can survive long enough to find it.